Spread the room's target steal is 20.
Why is there so many people here? Let it rest. I did not see her. See him.
They saw you in a Halloween costume. See what a real person is. You know what I'm saying? Unmasked. I seen you guys in that picture. That was cute.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
fun.
that.
The kids were great.
Yeah, I like
Call the meeting of the Lincoln Park Mayor and City Council of October 17th already. Wow. October 17th, 2022 to order. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, which will be immediately followed by the invocation by Reverend Frank Dragonic of Harvest Church of the Nazarene. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, gracious God, we asked that you be with the decisions that are made tonight. We thank you, God, that we can live in a great city. We thank you for our mayor and our councilmen and women and all those who serve to make this place a good place to live. So, God, we ask that you be with our decisions tonight, that you lead us and guide us in your direction. And we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, Reverend. Don, we're having an echo issue here. If you can come up front. We could have roll call, please.
Certainly. Councilpersons Dupre? Here. Higgins?
Here.
Kelsey?
Here.
Ross? Here. Salcido is absent. Tobin?
Here.
And Mayor Carnes.
Here.
You're like a pine nut.
Well, good evening, everyone, again. Just prior to this meeting, we had one in which we had a study session. Oh, you're good? Well, yeah, all right. We had a study session to discuss the water system improvements. We have a serious problem with water main breaks and water loss in our town. And so we are looking at the possibility of going out for a bond to more aggressively go after these water main breaks in order to save it. There was some displays. Are those displays out? Yeah. They're in the hallway here for those that have it, and if not, we'll have them in the office of the city management where you'll be able to come in and take a look at them. So I have a couple proclamations, but I think that, and first off, on Saturday morning at about 10 o'clock, 4th Street has a new designation. It is the Sergeant Craig S. Frank Memorial Highway on both sides running. The Frank family were there in a small ceremony to unveil the name. For those of you that don't know, Sergeant Frank died in Operation Iraqi Freedom. I believe it was in 2003 or 2004, and the roadway has been approved in his memory, or it'll be a memorial highway for him, which is a long time coming, and so that's a good thing. So with that, I think we're going to start with Veterans Day coming up. I think we'll start with Curator Jeff Day. So, Jeff, why don't you come on up? Sure. There.
Thank you very much. We have Veterans Day coming up on the 11th of November each year on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. So It will be on Friday, November 11th at 11 a.m. in the morning on the grounds of the Historical Museum. An important segment of the ceremony, as Mayor just mentioned, is the dedication of this will be the official dedication of the Sergeant Craig S. Frank Memorial Highway. There will be members of local governments and state government there, as well as, I believe, members of his family. And also, again, as the mayor mentioned, Sergeant Frank was killed during the Iraq War on July 17th, 2004. He was also a 1997 graduate of Lincoln Park High School. We have a couple of other events coming up that we'd like to invite you to. Coming up on Sunday, November 30th, will be a special Halloween film showing at the Bandshell Building indoors there at Memorial Park. The science fiction comedy film entitled Invasion of the Saucer Men, maybe some of you have heard of it. It was released in 1957 by American International Pictures. Like many other films of the 1950s, it was meant to be shown in drive-in movie theaters. The film is a low-budget black and white B picture, which were popular at that time. What makes this particular movie special for us is that one of the movie stars was Lynn Osborne. Lynn was an actor originally from Lincoln Park. He grew up here, graduated from high school here in '43, went into the U.S. Navy, where he served admirably, was discharged, came home, and then left for Los Angeles to try for an acting career. He studied at the Pasadena Playhouse for several years, and then his first real important gig in his life was, for 5 years, he played the role of Cadet Happy on Space Patrol on television. But he has a featured role in this film especially, and as I mentioned, it's not just a science fiction horror film, it's also got a bit of a comedy line all through it. So I think people would enjoy it. It will be free to the public, so we hope as many people from the community as we can fit into the Bandshell Building will be there. We're also having a costume contest, aliens preferred, costume contest just before we have the show. So the doors open at 5:30 on Sunday, October 30th. The show starts at 6 o'clock, and there will be offering refreshments as well for a small donation. We also want to thank the Lincoln Park Parks and Recreation Department for their help and cooperation in putting the event together for this Halloween Eve. Then the following week, very quickly, for the 2.5 years, as you know, that we have been pretty much on the down low, I guess, without any real indoor activities at the museum. So we are restarting our Wednesday evening program on November 2nd. It's a Wednesday night. We will have a program by one of our Historical Society members, Paul Zatko, talking about the crafts of tinplate, pewter, and more. And that's at 7 o'clock on Wednesday, November 2nd. And that'll be the first one we've had in close to 3 years. So we hope that you can join us for one, if not all, of these coming up events. Thank you. Oh, I did want to share this. This is a lobby card poster from Invasion of the Saucer Men, and it shows Lynn Osborne, the actor, in the middle of that. So that's your Lincoln Park connection. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Next, whereas the mission of the Family Court Awareness Month Committee, FCAMC, is to increase awareness of the importance of a family court system that prioritizes child safety and acts in the best interest of children. And whereas the mission at the FCAMC is fueled by the desire to create awareness and change in the family court system for the conservatively estimated 58,000 children a year ordered into unsupervised contact with physically or sexually abusive parents, while honoring the hundreds of children who have been reported as murdered during visitation with a dangerous parent. Whereas the mission of FCAMC is to increase awareness of the importance of empirically based education and training on domestic violence, child emotional and psychological abuse, childhood trauma, child sexual abuse, coercive control, and post-separation abuse for all professionals working on cases within the court family system. Whereas the mission of the FCAMC is to increase awareness of the importance of using scientifically valid, evidence-based treatment programs and services that are proven in terms of safety, effectiveness, and therapeutic value. Whereas the mission of the FCAMC is to educate judges and other family court professionals on evidence-based, peer-reviewed research. Such research is a critical component to making decisions that are truly in the best interest of children. Therefore, I, Thomas C. Carnes, and the Lincoln Park City Council hereby declare the month of November to be Family Court Awareness Month. We also have with us Geraldine Morris of the Family Court Awareness, and she has a few words. Geraldine?
Good evening. I am a protective parent and a child safety advocate highlighting the serious child safety issues in our family court system. I would like to thank the City of Lincoln Park for acknowledging that child safety should be the priority in family court and custody decisions. Most people do not understand the catch-22 of domestic violence. Women are encouraged to leave their abusive situations, but when they have children, they are thrust into family court, which seems to have no understanding of domestic violence. In fact, women are often told by their lawyers not to mention abuse, as they may lose custody of their children if they do. Many women escaping abuse are victims of coercive control and emotional abuse rather than physical violence. Judges don't understand this. Many lawyers don't understand this. And there is often no physical evidence to present in court. Coercive control can include threats, humiliation, intimidation that is used to harm, punish, or create fear. Coercive control isolates you, takes away your freedom to be yourself, to make your own decisions. You are watched, monitored, or tracked, sometimes through your computer or phone. If the abuser senses they are losing a battle for control over one area of your life, they tighten their grip on other areas. Domestic violence is really all about power and control, and that desire to control doesn't just mysteriously vanish when the relationship ends. The family court system becomes the new platform for abuse. Fighting for custody allows abusers to take control over their children's lives. Abusive parents are more likely to seek sole custody, and they are successful about 70% of the time. This puts children in the care of their abuser, putting children in danger. And when judges dismiss claims of domestic abuse, children can die. 33 Michigan children have been murdered during divorce or custody battles since 2008. In one recent case, 13-year-old Dayton Cowdery and his mother were killed by the father 1 week after the mother filed for divorce and 2 weeks after a judge denied her request for an order of protection. We are trying to shed light on these family court tragedies so that knowledge about all types of abuse and how to recognize it becomes an essential part of the family court and custody process, ensuring child safety is always the priority in custody decisions. Our children's lives are literally dependent on the courts becoming educated on these issues. Thank you for proclaiming November as Family Court Awareness Month in the City of Lincoln Park. It means the world not only to me, but to all the parents in Michigan who are struggling to protect their children in family court.
I figured you'd want a copy of the presentation.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
He has a camera?
Yep.
Great.
There you go.
I was going to come out front. This will work.
Over here. I didn't want to be in your photo.
Very good.
I guess. Alrighty then. You never know. Next, from the National Society, Daughters of the American Revolution, American Indians Committee, we have a proclamation from us. National American Indian Heritage Month. Whereas the history and culture of our great nation have been significantly influenced by American Indians and indigenous peoples, and whereas the contributions of American Indians have enhanced the freedom, prosperity, and greatness of America today, and whereas their customs and traditions are respected and celebrated as part of a rich legacy throughout the United States, and whereas Native American Awareness Week began in 1976 and recognition was expanded by Congress and approved by President George Bush in August 1990, designated the month of November as National American Indian Heritage Month. And whereas in honor of National American Indian Heritage Month, community celebrations as well as numerous cultural, artistic, education, and historic activities have been planned. Now therefore, I, Thomas Carnes, and the City Council of Lincoln Park, by virtue of the authority invested in me as mayor of Lincoln Park, do hereby proclaim November as National American Indian Heritage Month in Lincoln Park and urge all of our citizens to observe this month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. And then lastly, whereas lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer death among men and women in the United States, accounting for more death than colon cancer, breast cancer, and prostate cancer combined. Whereas according to the Centers for Disease Control, there were 7,057 new lung cancer cases and 4,819 deaths because of lung cancer between 2015 and 2019 in Wayne County, and the 5-year survival rate for localized lung cancer is 60%. Yet only 24% of lung cancers are diagnosed at this stage. Whereas screening for lung cancer for high-risk individuals using low-dose computed tomography can lead to the earliest detection of lung cancer and save lives, reducing mortality by 20% when compared to screening by chest x-rays in the National Lung Screening Trial, and reducing the risk of death at 10 years by 24% in women and 33% in men and 33% in women, as demonstrated by another large randomized trial. Whereas funding for lung cancer research trails far behind funding for research of many other cancers, and additional research is needed in early diagnosis, screening, and treatment for lung cancer, as well as in lung cancer affecting women and lung cancer health disparities. Whereas lung cancer incidence is decreasing twice as fast in men as it is in women. Each year, more women die from lung cancer than breast cancer, and by 2035, more women will die from lung cancer than men. Whereas African Americans have the highest lung cancer incidence and mortality of all races, and disparities in lung cancer screening, diagnosis, treatment, and mortality are well characterized among African Americans and other racial minorities. Whereas lung cancer in individuals who never smoked is the 7th leading cause of cancer-related death and accounts for 17,000 to 26,000 deaths in the U.S. each year. And the proportion of lung cancer diagnosed in people who never smoked is increasing in the U.S., and radon is the leading cause of lung cancer among individuals who never smoked, and second leading cause of lung cancer overall. Whereas the stigma surrounding lung cancer creates barriers to early diagnosis, treatment, and funding for research, has a detrimental effect on the quality of life of people diagnosed with lung cancer, and hinders awareness of and research into lung cancer risk factors other than smoking. Whereas lung cancer research is leading to breakthroughs in the identification of genetic alterations associated with lung cancer and in the development of lung cancer treatments, including immunotherapies and targeted therapies. Whereas organizations working in Michigan, such as the American Lung Cancer Screening Initiative and Women's Lung Cancer Forum, are committed to educating about lung cancer and lung cancer screening and working to increase lung cancer screening rates. Therefore, I, Thomas C. Carnes, along with the Lincoln Park City Council, hereby proclaim November 2022 as Lung Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Lincoln Park, and recognize the need for research in lung cancer affecting lung cancer health disparities, and encourage all citizens to learn about lung cancer and early detection through lung cancer screenings. So, got that. And we will move on to the consent agenda. Resolved that the following items listed on the consent agenda be approved as presented to the mayor and city council. 1, approved minutes, regular meeting held October 3, 2022. 2, approved subrecipient, the Guidance Center. 3, approved subrecipient, Blessed Hope Church. 4, approved interagency agreement, Lincoln Park Police Department. 5, participation residential rehab. And 6, approved renewal used auto dealer license.
So move.
Support.
Okay. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. First item that we have has a cover letter from Chief of Police Raymond Waters. Lincoln Park Police Department is requesting council to waive the bid process and allow the police department to purchase 16 Flock cameras. Flock is the sole manufacturer and developer of the Flock Safety LPR camera. Flock has provided us a quote of $40,000 for the 16 cameras. The Flock LPR camera systems are individual license plate camera readers that mount stationary within the city and record traffic. Each camera can be mounted to an existing pole and can use existing power or solar power. The Flock LPR system is the only law enforcement grade system to offer shared data across the country, ability to search for a vehicle based on a description, and the ability to capture 2 lanes of traffic simultaneously. Flock system has been proven to reduce crime in other areas across the country that have used them. Currently, River Rouge has 30 cameras mounted throughout their city and have had great success deterring crime with them. The purchase of the 16 cameras will provide our detectives with another tool to combat crime within the city. The department was granted permission to purchase 8 cameras in January 2022, which have proven to be an incredible asset to us. So be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize the police department to waive the bidding process and purchase 16 Flock cameras for a cost of $40,000 from Flock Safety, the sole supplier. Be it further resolved, funds for the purchase of the camera to come from CDBG 48th Program Year Funds.
So move.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Tobin, and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Resolved that the City of Lincoln Park designate the hours of 5 p.m. through and including 8 p.m. on Monday, October 31, 2022, as the official trick-or-treat time of observance in the City of Lincoln Park.
So move.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. In moving to accounts and claims payable, the first item, DTE Energy, has been paid the check release for the due date. Resolved that the accounts and claims payable for those items greater than $25,000 be approved as follows. DTE Energy, electric, gas, September 2022, $80,348.37. DUWA, July 2022, adjusted sewer uses fee, and August 2022 sewage user fee, $164,598.46. Great Lakes Contracting Solutions, 2022 concrete utility repairs, $61,747.58. GV Cement, 2022 road recon and water main replacement, $638,923.35. GLWA, July and August 2022 billing for water, $455,219.35. MML deductible claim, $29,463.75. MERS September 2022 defined benefit, $233,643.31. National or NET period Faith Home Buyers, First Time Home Buyers Program, $47,398. PNC Investments, semi-annual police and fire Pension payment, $2,803,680.74. City of Riverview, August 2022 dumping, compacted, and demolition, $26,556.27. And United Lawnscape, September 2022 city lawn maintenance and alley cleanup, $39,129.90.
So move.
Support.
Discussion?
Comment, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
I was looking for the GLWA payable amount to read less the Highland Park debt, right? So I emailed Lisa, and I just wanted everyone to know that the Highland Park debt is eliminated from billing for all the communities as of right now. But because of that news report a couple weeks ago, I just want us to keep an eye on it. I don't want them sneaking it in again.
Okay. Further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
Dupre? Yes. Kelsey?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. So we now move to the city manager's report. Mr. Grzan?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things to report on tonight, a couple updates on projects. So we've started working with the contractor for the City Hall windows. They've now ordered the product, and they're telling us it should be close to a 12-week lead time, which would put us just after the holidays. The good thing is they're telling us they should be able to complete the project within a week once they have everything, but unfortunately a couple offices will be cold for a little bit longer. We did get bids back on the generator project, and the bids themselves came back dead on with the budget we had set. However, the consensus is to make sure we budget in some contingency. So we are hoping to bring that back for your approval at the next meeting, but we wanted to identify where the funds for the contingency were going to come from, because that was putting it a little bit above the budgeted total. Pool demolition, still waiting on DTE to come through and do their service disconnection, which is a story I think we've heard on many different demolitions throughout the years, but we're hoping that they'll be through in the next week and we'll be able to move forward. So we're getting there. Some paving projects. You guys approved the DPS lot, and then the fire department apron. We're working on putting together a bid for the fire department apron. The DPS lot we're hoping to have paved before Thanksgiving, still in this year. So that's moving forward. I'd be remiss as a lover of books if I didn't point out that the Friends of the Library have their book sale going on right now. So go ahead and stop by and stock up. And then the mayor earlier mentioned the study session. This is a significant program that we're looking at implementing. I do want to let everybody know that we have study session materials posted on the website. We're going to run some of the information as we can on the Lincoln Park television station, and we're going to try and get as much information out about what we're looking at as possible. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
Through the chair.
Go ahead, sir.
Do we know any more about the GFL investigation?
I have some more information. I'm expecting to give you guys a full report this week.
Okay. Any updates on the alley that we've improved? Can you give us anything on the update on the alley?
Honestly, I don't have any of the information with me. I need to compile all of it and then get it to you.
Okay. And lastly, something that's I've brought up 1,000 times, the wall for the trash at the band shell. Where are we at with that? We've been talking about it for about 2 years now.
So we put it out to bid, I believe it was earlier this year.
Right.
We got no bids back. I think we just have to go back to, we got to put it back out for bid. We'll probably try and aim to shoot probably early spring before contractors get busy. we're not going to want to do it over the winter.
That's all tonight, Your Honor.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Yes, ma'am.
James, are you familiar with Wayne County's PAYS program, Pay As You Stay? Are you familiar with that program?
I don't believe I am.
It's a low-income homeowner program that can help homeowners not lose their house to foreclosure for taxes. And there's a list of neighboring cities that are on here, so I'm wondering if we can look at this and maybe see if we qualify.
Yeah, we'll look into it. If it happens to be a CDBG-funded program, we might not be able to be in an entitlement. We might have, right, but we'll look into it for sure.
Thank you. So,
Through the chair.
Yes, ma'am.
James, where are we on Austin Street? Is it done?
It is not completed yet. What do we have left, John?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Right now, all of the water has been installed, all the services have been replaced on Austin Street. Right now, we're waiting on concrete, and the concrete is getting tough to acquire, but we're hoping to have some more additional concrete paved out the end of this week, once we get through this rain that we're having right now.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All set?
All set.
Excuse me,
Anything, now's not the time.
I'll be saying question.
Of council. The citizen communications will just be in a moment.
Through the chair.
Go ahead, yes.
Have you had any time to think about advertising for a city planner? You know, last meeting, the 2 meetings ago, you said that it was put on hold because we were doing GPS work. I was just
Right.
wondering if you've had any
I
time
really
together.
haven't given,
No.
no, I'm preparing for the study session.
Okay. That, and also any progress with moving the building department back in-house?
I believe we got the positions posted again. If not, they will be. I mean, that's the holdup, is hiring.
Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, anything else from council for city manager? Hearing none, then we will move on to the department head report. Today is the finance director, Lisa Griggs.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start by doing just a brief overview of where we're at with last year's fiscal year, this year's fiscal year, and the future. So for the 21-22 fiscal year, we did end that June 30th. We're now in the process of the audit. Very echoing. So the auditors started the first week of October. So they're pretty much in the full swing of things. They're actually kind of starting to wind down on some of the bigger parts of the audit, moving on to the single audit, which is primarily CDBG. With last year ending, it does look like we are going to have a contribution to fund balance once again, so that's great news. Some of the items that contributed to that were the building department revenue was up over $130,000. Revenue sharing was up nearly $1 million, so the constitutional part of that is brought in by the collection through the state. We have the EVIP portion, that's pretty much set in stone. We did have an increase in that, but it's kind of a flat rate throughout the year. But some of the projections from the state originally were lower, so those came in much higher, so that's very positive for us. Court revenue was still down. And nearly all of the departments on the expenditure side stayed under budget, and so they came in at about 95% of the budget. So that's good that everybody's pretty much keeping their spending under control. Once the audit's complete, which should be in the next couple of weeks, we'll have our draft meeting, go over the final numbers, and then we'll schedule the meeting for mayor and council to be presented with the audit. The current fiscal year started July 1st, so we're a quarter of the way through already. So we're always in the process of dealing with last year's, current year, and then already talking about next year. So with the first quarter ending, revenues collected are at 48%, which is about 50% of the budget, but that's primarily because the tax collections, that first due date hits in August. So we get a large collection of tax payments from mortgage companies primarily. A lot of the residents do pay in full, but that's mostly the mortgage companies that we see the influx with. The investment income is up this year, so that's great news. Of course, that's because as interest rates rise on the mortgage side, the bank increases the rate that they pay us. The last several years with the rates being so low, we've taken a huge hit on that, so that's moving in a positive direction. We have seen a slight increase in court revenue so far this year. We'll continue to watch that as we move into the middle of the year. Hopefully that stays on trend. I know that ticket writing has increased, and as we've had more officers come on, that's helped as well. So hopefully that continues to trend upwards and gets us back to a more normal flow of cash coming in from that revenue source. Expenditures are trending at about 17%, so that's good. That's still coming in under the 25% of where you may expect to be at the end of the first quarter. And then as we move into January, we'll start looking at the mid-year budget projections, kind of get a better idea of where we're going to end up throughout the year. And so we are already getting ready to start talking the 23-24 budget. So we will begin in the next month doing capital planning for the next year. It's always the first step of the budget process. So we send out the request forms to the departments. They send in their requests for the capital items that they want for the next year. And then in December, we'll move on to departments entering their budget requests for the upcoming year. And then revenue projections will start, and so we'll really get, just as we're ending the audit, we move right into the full swing of the budget process. So once that's moving in the right direction, we are going, one of the big items that we're going to be looking at is capital planning. Throughout the last several years, we've really had to kind of put some of the building needs on hold. We haven't really had the funds to do that, but now that we have been able to contribute to fund balance, and we've got some positive things coming in. We've had ARPA funds coming in to help with some of that, but we're still way behind in that area. So I think that's one of the big items. We have been able to replace vehicles. We've kept those on a pretty good schedule, but the buildings, luckily we can do windows and the animal shelter with the ARPA funds, but there's so many items. We're constantly going out to bid for boiler systems and roofs, and so we really need to start getting back into the planning on that. So that's something big that we'll be looking for. Then one of the other items I'm going to talk about is the water collection process. I know we've talked the last couple years. We had 2020 where we couldn't do any shutoffs, which of course is beneficial to the residents, but that did take a big hit on the water and sewer fund. So we weren't able to collect on those past due water bills like we normally could. We of course did send out some past due notices, but we couldn't go the full process of that due to COVID. So 2020 was pretty much at a standstill, and you may recall we waived some penalties for a period of time there as well. In 2021, we did get back into the shut-off process and going after the past due balances. With 2020, no shut-offs happening, unfortunately, and I don't want to say just shut-offs, I mean the process of it, sending out the letters, the reminders to residents. We really had, a lot of accounts that were past due. So we were very lenient last year. We did have some accounts we shut off, of course, because sometimes, there's just no response. But it was a much scaled back version, so we didn't go after some of the lower amounts that we normally would have, and we gave more payment arrangements than we normally would have. So this year we kind of got back into the regular process, trying to get some of those past due balances in, of course with the goal not to shut them off, but just to get the money collected, because we have already paid for that water to GLWA and to DUA for the sewage portion. So it's important that we get the cash flow in as we talk about all of our infrastructure needs, just trying to maintain the system for the daily breaks and repairs and purchasing supplies and paying the crews, we have to have the cash flow coming in. So we did continue to offer payment plans, as we always do, and we give several chances to the residents. Even if they've gotten to the process of receiving a shut-off letter, we still offer payment programs, even when their homes get red tags. If they haven't responded, we still give them an option to make some sort of a payment arrangement. It's not always what they like, but we do try to give them some grace period there to give them more time to pay. Because, of course, sending our crews out to shut off is, it's cumbersome, too. So with that, there was also several programs that were rolled out in the last year or so for COVID funds, different rental assistant programs, homeowners assistance programs. So we do have a sheet that we give residents outline all of those programs so that they can reach out to some of the organizations. So we've had quite a few, even just in the last month, there was one program we had never even heard of. So we were able to get into that. That's the My Half program. So council approved that, and we've already had some responses coming in from that. So some residents are getting some assistance with that. So that's good. But even with this, the red tags and the shut-off and the letters going out, it was quite substantial this year. So I did run some numbers on that, and so we have about just over 15,000 accounts throughout the city. So we have that broken down into seven districts. 6 of them are the main residence districts. District 7's pretty small, it's mostly businesses. But we sent out 3,641 shut-off notices this year. And of those, 1,188 homes were red tagged. So that means they didn't respond to the shut-off notice. And this goes over, we do it 2 times for each district. So that's the total for each series of that. And then out of those 1,188 homes that were red tagged, we shut off 238 accounts. So some of those are vacant, but some of them are just non-responses, or they didn't keep, they said they were going to come in with the money, but they didn't. But that's about almost 7% of the homes that were shut off that received letters initially. I mean, overall, when you look at the picture of the total accounts we have, it's not substantial in the big picture, but it does take a lot of time for staff, both administratively in the water office, as well as DPS's crews going out and red tagging the homes and going out and shutting off. And then there's some that, they have to dig up. And so it's just a whole series, and it is a lot of work. So our goal is always to try and get the payment arrangement set up so that we don't get to that last step. And then looking at some of the operations for the water office, we were fortunate to get our second employee on staff, so we are now fully staffed with two clerks in the office. So that's working out well. She started, I believe it was late July, and she is still in the training process. There's, a lot to learn in the office, and she started right at the heart of the busiest season of the year for the water office. So that's good and bad, I guess. So we will continue as we move in now to the slower months of work in the office to monitoring the accounts as we normally do, but we can dedicate a little bit more time to that, to watching accounts for high usage and low usage and sending out letters to those residents and trying to flag them of any out of the ordinary water usage. And then in the finance department, with it being the end of the quarter, there's several quarterly reports that have to get filed, both in the payroll department and on the finance side. So tax quarterly reports are coming out of the payroll office. And finance, we have quarterly reports now that we have to submit for ARPA funding. So we have to account for all of the funds that we received and how we're spending those. And then we have the MIDC grant, so that's the one through the court. We have a lot of reporting we have to do with that as well. CDBG, of course, has quarterly reports, and then we still have we have a couple grants open, maybe down to one through the state of Michigan for the fiscally distressed communities grants. I know I didn't say that exactly right, but I think the last one that we have open is the generator project. So we have to report on that, and then we That one is only twice a year, but we have to give them status update reports and financial update reports for that. So that's kind of October's kind of a busy month for our department. We have audit going on and reporting, and with that being said, we did receive notice that our payroll clerk is going to be retiring in December. So, you know, we're always talking about staffing issues, but that has become official now, so we have already begun the planning process for that. And of course, everybody wants to get paid, so we'll make sure that hopefully it doesn't take us too long to get the position filled, but if it does, we have staff that can step in, and we'll make sure that not only the employees, but the council receives their paychecks. So that's kind of where we're at with that, and we'll get through it like we always do. With that, take any questions if anyone has any.
Any questions from council for Lisa?
Through the chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Lisa. Just quickly, do we have anywhere on the website maybe where, to make people or make residents and businesses aware that you can put money on your water account anytime? It doesn't have to be, you know, when the bill is due?
I don't believe we have that outlined. I know we do have some residents that will pay continuously.
So the word is out there, they know, okay.
Yeah, and anytime they ask, we always tell them, you know, even if they're not in a past due situation, but they know they're going to be, we always try to get them into a payment arrangement ahead of time. We encourage that because it helps offset some of the fees that they'll get later on. But we do also have some residents that will just come in and pay, like every time they get paid, they'll pay, you know, $30 or $40, and sometimes they even get into a situation where they have a rolling credit. But we always let them know they can pay at any point.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm not hearing anything else. Lisa, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now I'll open it up for citizen communications. Anyone interested, just approach the podium. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone approach, then we'll go to the oral reports of mayor and council. Councilman Higgins?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just had a few things tonight.
Good.
We actually have a statement.
Okay, come to the...
So I have recently moved back to Lincoln Park.
You need to identify yourself.
My name is Chris Woodley.
Okay.
I live in Lincoln Park.
Okay.
I came in today to get my ballot to vote. The clerk informed me that I had to have an ID. I informed her no, I could sign an affidavit. She refused an affidavit for me to sign. She took my driver's license. She went over to her desk. I believe she made a copy of it, made me sign a form in front of her while she looked at my driver's license, would not let me have an affidavit. Per Michigan.gov, I could have signed an affidavit without a valid ID. And that needs to be addressed so that it doesn't happen from now until November. That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Councilman Higgins, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. It was a busy weekend. We had the trick or trunk for the police, and easily 350 kids there. It was wonderful. I'd like to thank the police for putting it on, and they made a lot of kids happy. The week before, there was a trunk or treat and a zombie apocalypse. Everything was spectacular and wonderful for another wonderful event for our city, and I want to thank everybody who had anything to do with that. A lot of thank yous tonight. There was also a museum cleanup this weekend. They cleaned the outside of the outside of the museum, and did a wonderful job. And I want to thank everybody who was involved with that. They did a spectacular job. Again, it's already been mentioned a couple of times, but the library sale has begun. That's a big part of their budget throughout the year. The Friends of the Library do that, and they turn that money right back into the library, buy new books. So please go take a look. I'd like to remind everybody that Fantasyland's coming up, and they're looking for volunteers, you can go over at the band shell and let them know, and they are definitely looking for help. And lastly, I'd like to make an announcement for the Lincoln Park Moose. We'll be doing a comedy night on November 5th. They're going to have 3 different comedians and full meal for $30. Lincoln Park Moose has been around for a long time, and it's been an entertainment center, and they're about ready to relaunch and start doing some things again, and they'd like to welcome the public. That's all this evening. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Councilwoman Tobin?
Well, I attended the police trunk or treat, and it was great, and the kids were fabulous, and I really enjoyed myself a lot. The week before, we had the zombie apocalypse, and it was cold. That wind was just cutting through people. But we had over 400 kids come through, and they spent the afternoon in the park playing, doing games, doing pumpkins. The Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus were in the park chasing kids all afternoon, which was just a really lot of fun. Gotch and Son Towing won first place in the trunk contest. Brian the Zombie won first place in the costume contest, his 2nd year in a row. I'd like to thank the sponsors this year. Flappers Cafe, Motor City Graphics, and Accounting Plus were generous this year so we could make this all happen. It was just a really fun time. Austin Carroll at Parks and Rec went above and beyond to help and make sure everything went smoothly, and I'm very grateful for all the assistance that he gave, because it made a big difference. The Exchange Club of Lincoln Park is doing the 11/11 at 7 event this year again for homeless veterans. The date is November 10th, so it's 11/10 at 7, and 50 Amp Fuse will be playing, raffle baskets, t-shirts, food. So if you can, come on out the day before the Veterans Day, before you go to the museum in the morning, and spend some time and help raise some money for our homeless vets. And that's all I have. Everybody stay warm, because it's going to get cold. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilwoman Ross?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, I love those trunk or treats. Those are so cool. But you know what? So was the fire department's open house. So
Yes, it was.
thank you, Chief, for doing that for us. Just a couple reminders. I know that Jeff was here and he mentioned the events at the museum, but I just want to repeat them because I think they're going to be fun too. That's Sunday, October 30th for the film Invasion of the Saucer Men. November 2nd, that's a Wednesday evening at 7. Again, that starts their evening programs. And then Friday, November 11th at 11 for the Veterans Day annual Veterans Day ceremony and bell ringing. And just don't forget that we are participating with Simple Recycling. I think that's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilwoman Dupre?
Well, as Councilman Higgins already mentioned, the Fantasyland, they're always looking for volunteers, so it's a great time to get involved. And winter is coming, so I would just like to say stay safe, happy Halloween, and good night, and God bless.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Kelsey?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just got one thing. 2 weeks ago, I asked John Myers when he's at the podium about the Paplas Company on Monte. And I guess after that discussion with the council, him and the chief, fire chief, were kind of like got themselves in a little bit of trouble. And I guess I want to say is that if it was my fault, I'll take the responsibility for it. But I don't think that our department heads need to get into trouble and finally saying to the council what's going on. And I'll leave it where it's at.
All set?
I'm sorry, yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, then, lastly, this is sort of a pink out month. for breast cancer awareness, and the police department, as I showed at the last meeting, have pink patches that are available. And the pink patches are, what, $10? And who does it benefit, Chief?
Very good cause.
A very good cause. A very good, I think it's specifically a family that is battling,
Shades of pink.
Shades of Pink, there you go. You can look that up. The badges, the patches are available at the police department for $10. And if you notice on the police cars, there are stickers to where the patches are in pink also, right? So that is a very worthy cause. If you have extra, to make a nice little surprise gift for the female in your, or, you know, whoever. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Move, support.
All right. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
So moved.
Tobin,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes.